Crystal Palace are not messing around this transfer window. As soon as the final ball was kicked on the final game of the season, they went straight into the transfer market and signed Chadi Riad from Real Betis. But earlier this week, they went into Serie A and they picked out a Lazio, Daichi Kamada, to reunite him with Oliver Glasner. Of course, those two were together at Frankfurt when they went and won the Europa League. And this is a fantastic signing that really does now beckon a kind of domino effect in the transfer window where Palace might have some outgoings potentially, but there's a lot of prospective incomings already in the offing as well. In the video today, we're going to look at exactly where Kamada would fit into the Crystal Palace team, what he brings to the side, and we'll have a little look at what this domino effect could be in the transfer window, because as we record this now, it's the beginning of June. There's still plenty of time to go, and when you read all the reports that are going around Crystal Palace, it is going to be a busy one. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for 10,000 subscribers and we cannot do that without your support, guys. And get into the comment section on this one and let me know what you think of the Kamada transfer. Is it overhyped, or is he going to deliver? Has he got the goods? And yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it. Now, as I was recording my end-of-season report card for Crystal Palace, they announced the transfer of Chadi Riad, and I managed to just about slide it into the report card. If you missed that video, I'll link it in the description of this one, and I'll put it on screen when this video is finished if you've not seen it yet. But when you look at the way the squad has been laid out from last season, you know what Oli Glasner's inherited. There is very good quality in defence, but it was needing somewhat reinforced. And seeing Chadi Riad come in, who will firmly be like a squad player, was a great kind of coup. I think, you know, a highly rated guy out of the La Masia Academy, done very well in La Liga last year. And this guy won't expect to break into the team, but could, you know, and that's a fantastic profile of player to go and get if they're available, and you know you can get them at a kind of cut price or on a good kind of contractual term. So that was fantastic to see. And the rumours of Kamada being reunited with Glasner have been around for a little bit, so this wasn't a total surprise to see. But in the attacking area, it's far more crowded than what it is in the defence. So I think the defence is something that we're going to see a lot more attention come to as the window goes on. But the addition of Kamada in here, if everyone was to stay at Crystal Palace, which it looks now, it is almost certainly not going to be the case. But this would be really seriously contending, considering that Crystal Palace only have domestic cups to really worry about on top of any league commitments, that really could challenge the top six in theory with the amount of goals that were scoring last season anyway. And then when you just add in the extra level of depth and quality and variety that somebody like Kamada offers, which we'll talk about as well. But like a lot of teams in this kind of transitional phase of trying to move out of the bottom half of the table and being securely, regularly operating in the top half of the table, mid-table area, and have the hopes and the ambitions of getting into European football and maybe even having an even more wonderful season like we've seen the likes of like Aston Villa, Newcastle, Tottenham have over the last 2 years. But most of these teams need to sell a player or two for a peak price to, you know, financially lubricate the club, to go into the transfer market and make lots of shrewd moves, to back a manager, to back a new maybe infrastructure at the club. We're thinking about Aston Villa with some of the chief scouts and sporting directors and all the rest of it. So Kamada coming in, it's not really a big fee or whatever, but as soon as you see this is getting done, the main narrative that comes out is Eze's got a gentleman's agreement. Tottenham are right in amongst it, and they're probably going to be sealing him. So it does look like Eze does leave, and so it doesn't really change the overall dynamic that we have here at Palace in terms of depth or quality. I do think Kamada is a fantastic, I was going to say like for like replacement there for Eberechi Eze, but he is nothing like Eberechi Eze, to be quite honest with you. One of the great things about Eze, and a part of the reason I think he'll do fantastically well at Tottenham if that's where he does end up, is his running power, his ability to really go box to box, almost Yaya Toure-esque. Like when Eze's got the bit between the teeth, nothing is stopping him, and it really doesn't matter where you find him on the pitch. Kamada is rather different. Kamada does have a bit of that transition, that kind of running power, in a little bit of a different way. But in my experience of watching this guy over the last 3 or 4 years, like he's a very good pressing forward, the attacking midfielder type player. And this is where a lot of his real positive statistics come from, his ability to really, be a handful for opposition defenses to deal with. And subsequently, he's a very good team player. So he's always making really good choices, accurate passes to other players and build up, or trying to find the finisher who could be in the box to, put the ball in the back of the net, that sort of thing. But one of the things I really enjoy watching about him is he is a bit like a ghost sometimes. And what I mean by that is he can really just vanish for about 10 minutes or so, and like he doesn't get marked, he doesn't get picked up, and he just is always in the right place at the right time. And you might call that he's got a good nose for goal, or maybe a few other bits and pieces, but I have seen like it spells before he was really seen as nailed on at Frankfurt, and even his initial period under Maurizio Sarri at Lazio. Like, if you don't totally get Kamada, it's very easy to think he's not that good or he's not that effective. And he's one of these players that the manager, number one, 100% knows the player and will get the best out of him, I've got no doubt. But one of the main worries I've got about this video is, like, I even was very close to saying a like-for-like replacement, because it's not going to change Crystal Palace's tactics at all. And I think Palace on match day one of the Premier League season, if you were to see a team that looked like this and you see Kamada in Eze's position, let's say, what you've seen him doing under Glasner before any impending departure, you're maybe expecting that same kind of energy. And as I say, like, he can and will do that, I've got no doubt, but that's not like his main feature of his game. It is his final third activity, whether it is, you know, pressing the defence or being a fantastic build-up player. He's very, very unselfish, and really he's a guy that can make the most out of half chances and everything as well, whether that be for goals or assists. And I say he's just like a really valuable player to have in and around the box, especially. He can play in midfield, and as I say, he does have a good eye for a pass, good range of passing and all that kind of thing, but this is a guy you're going to see much higher up the pitch, I think, more often than not, and it's going to be those key kind of counter-attack, those transitions where maybe the ball goes out to left back, and then it's very quickly like, who are the two players kind of bursting forward, and I think he's going to be in close proximity to whoever the striker is going to be for the most part, but he's not going to be totally a like-for-like replacement for Eberechi Eze, but I think he'll be a fantastic player to feed off the service of Elise, because if the ball is going to be coming out to Elise as like the artillery kind of player, you know, is going to be putting those balls into the box for the finishers, whether it is like in a transition phase, a counter-attack, or a set play, or even just general build-up play. And Kamada's ability to come into the box and be unmarked and to know just an area to attack or the flight of the ball, that kind of thing, is very, very good. So even if like your main target man is going to be occupying the big, brawn centre-backs that are meant to be stopping these crosses or whatever, he's going to be, you know, like, he's actually going to be the target sometimes, you know, and it's going to look like absolute genius, because Elise's got a fantastic delivery and is only linked to the good and the great of European football and like the Premier League especially because of what he offers here. And I think that, you know, losing Eze is huge. I think he is quite a uniquely talented player, but he, you know, he's done his time, as it were. There's a gentleman's agreement and it looks like that'll be off. And I do think that Kamada will come in here and do very, very well for the most part, because I do think he's already shown, having done it in the Bundesliga and Europa League and Serie A, that he's got everything to suggest like he can make a step up into a situation like this, manager and formation that work for him, of course. But some of the other links, like we spoke about Eze a little bit already, I think the Elise ones will probably go away because of Eze. I think they'll get their big money transfer for the summer and they'll be able to buy Elise off maybe with a new contract with a minimum fee and a big juicy sign-on bonus to keep him happy for a further year, because the Glasner project is very exciting and it probably won't be too hard with the right incentives to, you know, motivate players to stay on, as it were. But Wharton and laterally Mitchell and Guy, these guys are also getting some attention and some kind of press, as it were, for potential moves this summer. Now, I really do hope, for the sake of the project that seems to be underway here, the additions of Chadi Riad and Daichi Kamada that we spoke about, that Wharton in particular doesn't leave too early. For the kid's own sake, first and foremost, he's only been in the Premier League 2 minutes. I know he debuted for England and he looked great and all the rest of it, but he has only just got to the pinnacle, the elite level, like 2 minutes ago. And, you know, there's too many guys that have made that move, some of them out of Palace, too early in their career, stalled and whatever. And I really do hope, for this kid's sake, as well as Crystal Palace, for, you know, bringing him into the Premier League and giving him this platform since January, that he does get kept, because I think the versatility and the obvious quality that he offers is really the platform that a lot of this is going to work around, because in this shape for Ole Glasner, the midfield too is the linchpin of it all, to make sure the whole thing can be balanced and defensively sound and offensively effective. Now, Maxence Lacroix, that's how you're meant to say it, you can say it however you want, is another big defender that's been linked to Crystal Palace. Now, this guy plays at Wolfsburg, played alongside Mickey van de Ven for, you know, like a long time, and both of them looked pretty good. They never really formed a great partnership for my money. But I think in a back three, Lacroix, especially with Glasner being formerly a Bundesliga manager, also knows the player inside out with opposition analysis and all the rest of the stuff he'll be doing. I think this is a guy that would genuinely push Chris Richards out of the squad, potentially, and then you really do have a real upgrade on your defence. And then Chris Richards, with his versatility and his quality, really does probably complete this defence for how balanced you want it, how many actual heads you want in there, and the level of quality that you've got to call upon weekend to weekend, and the little bit of ability to rotate for League Cup action as well as FA Cup if and when it comes up. And the reason I reference Van de Ven is because I think, like, although Lacroix has like been decent without being amazing, the step up that Van de Ven made, like, Van de Ven had a little bit more, a lot more, depends who you talk to, potential than Lacroix. He's left-footed and all the rest of it. He's maybe a wee bit younger. But this guy's really good as well, you know, and they both looked equally as good in Wolfsburg matches I watched. So the level of performance we've seen from Van de Ven, not saying this guy is going to be just as good as Van de Ven because they played in the same team and make some sort of stupid logic, but having seen them and know the kind of style of play, the qualities that they have, I'm a big fan of Chris Richards for what it's worth, by the way. I don't see him as being 100% head and shoulders above him, but I do think he would push him out the team. He's got a little bit more defensive resilience going for him, and if the manager's picking him, signing him to bring him in, generally that's just how the way it goes. But that's a defensive upgrade that, along with Joachim Andersen and Mark Guy, that really makes the Palace defence like a whole level better for me as well. But another player linked to Crystal Palace that I think would be a fantastic transfer if they could pull off is Matias Soule, the Argentinian, you know, I don't know if we would quite call him a wonder kid, Juventus player who was on loan at Frosinone last year. He's been hotly linked to the club, and having watched this guy quite maybe a half a dozen times last year or so, he's a very exciting attacking forward that, you know, I'm not too sure exactly where he would fit in this front three. Frosinone did play a bit of a front three at times as well, but it's totally different kind of makeup and setting, of course, in Serie A. I don't think this is a guy that would really be pushing Olise in terms of the way Olise plays, because Olise has got, you know, wonderful left foot shooting, passing, crossing, stuff we've been speaking about already in the video. Whereas Soule is maybe a bit more of a forward, maybe a bit more of the point of the arrowhead in this Oliver Glasner attack. Maybe somebody that would replace Odsonne Edouard, who's been linked to Celtic and a few other clubs I've kind of seen knocking around. But if he was to leave, you know, maybe that's the sort of guy who wants to push Mateta, maybe even replace Mateta. And he could really offer the sort of promise and maybe even the sort of same style of play that we might have imagined on this side of the pitch that Franca kind of promised last year. But this guy, having already been in Italy for a little while and playing like Serie A football to a really good level last year, I think that would be a really shrewd signing that would really, again, like we were speaking about the tip-off of the video, put a bit of strength in numbers and lift the level of quality in the attack department. Because Crystal Palace have already shown at the back end of the season that they can score all manner of goals, you know, from open play, dead balls, and everything else in between since Glasner's appointment. And if they are going to go and have that kind of fairy tale, that wild card season where they really do punch above their weight, make the headlines, and really make everyone step back and go, well done, Palace, well done to you guys. This is the sort of transfer business that, you know, Crystal Palace have already done and are maybe looking to do, that you have to get done, because that's one of the things that I live for on this channel is Premier League clubs that are just football clubs in general around Europe that throw their weight about and really go behind I don't want to say project, but really believe in themselves and try and take their own path to success. You know, not everyone can spend £100 million on every single player, but every club has something going for it. They've all got their own way to kind of, you know, find success in football, and, you know, particularly in the Premier League, when we all look at it as being really like the World Super League when you think about it, then you want to see every team in it really throw their weight about as much as possible and get as brilliant a team together as possible, so that every week when we're tuning into this stuff, it is the elite level madness that we have all come to know. I think, like I say, Crystal Palace could not have started the summer off any better. 2 key signings already, and with the likes of Lacroix and Soule being linked, maybe there's another 2 not too far behind it as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if Palace maybe even just got all their business buttoned up quite quickly over the next couple of weeks, and then they can get into pre-season camp and really just get everyone in the frame of mind to attack the season with 100% effort and commitment and all that other good stuff. I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. I'm really looking forward to see Kamada really break out at Crystal Palace this year and help them on their voyage further into the top half of the table this season. And look forward to catching the comment section on this one. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Stay out of trouble, and I will catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.